It's a nice quiet morning, sheltered water, not much wind. Ideal for talking about a little bit of boat handling under power. And what I'm going to demonstrate and discuss here is how to turn the boat in a very short space. If you've got a modern yacht with a fin keel and a big spade rudder, there's almost no problem about this. If you shove the rudder hard over and you're not going very fast, the boat will generally almost spin in her own length. But there's an awful lot of boats, and mine's one of them, that don't even look at doing that. They need help to get round. And here's the secret weapon. The secret weapon to short order boat handling is the propeller and what it does. It's not about the rudder, it's about the propeller. And when the boat's not moving and the propeller turns in a stern, it will throw the stern one way or the other. That's what it does. If it's a right-hand propeller, which most propellers are, it will throw the stern to port if the boat's not moving or if she's moving very slowly. Once the boat starts moving properly through the water and the propeller starts chomping into the water as it's going, the effect dies away really. But until you've got way on, the propeller's thrashing around there and it's chucking water around, and you've got to use that as a tool rather than let it become a nuisance. The other tool you've got, and this is where the rudder comes into play, is by throwing the boat ahead when she's not moving. If you put the rudder across and throw water against it by going ahead positively, the water will shoot out to one side, and that will throw the stern around as well. If you try and turn the other way, you'll have a struggle. Now I'm going to go out there and show you how this really happens now. The first thing we're going to do is try to determine whether I've got a right hand or a left hand prop. It doesn't actually matter which hand it is. What you want to know is which way the stern's going to go, isn't it? So we'll see if we can find that out. I don't think it's going to work on the dock here because we're so close to the pontoon. The water's not going to move around properly. But if we get out onto the calm water out there, we're going to put the boat astern and we'll see which way water's coming out. Okay, here we go. So I'm putting her astern now. And as I go astern, you can see I haven't moved the helm at all. You can see that the bow is swinging immediately and quite drastically to starboard. That means the stern is going to port. So I've got a right-hand propeller. Okay, we've discovered that the bow definitely goes to starboard when we go astern. So we do want to make our short turn to starboard. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to put the helm hard over to starboard. I'm going to start by giving her a good swoosh ahead. We're not going to let the boat gather way. We're just going to chuck water against that rudder and start her turning. Here we go. Whoosh. And now we're going to go astern. She's just walking round on the propeller. What a pleasure to see her do this. It's astonishing. She's pirouetting like a ballerina. The bow is still turning. There it goes. And now it's time for her to go ahead. Whoosh! Loads of water against the rudder. Really positive. And now we go astern. And we're going nowhere. We've hardly moved at all. And I'm going to carry on going astern until either I run out of space or the bow stops swinging, which is now. And so it's time to go ahead again. Put her ahead, be kind to the gearbox, give it a good swoosh ahead, because that really gives her a good bash when you turn her by throwing water against the propeller. It's magical. And now she's pirouetting. Look at this, you can see the background swooshing round behind me as she goes round. We've almost completed our first half turn. Nearly there, starting to move astern. So, time for another bash ahead. And notice, I have not moved the wheel once, because this is nothing to do with the wheel. All that the rudder is doing is chucking that water out sideways when we go ahead. We're not steering the boat at all when we're going astern. You'll see people, they go ahead a bit and they start going astern and they're winding the wheel about like a madman. And the boat never gathers way. A boat doesn't steer astern until it's doing a knot or two. And you don't want to be doing more than a knot astern, because as soon as you're going that fast, you're running out of space and you want to go another bash ahead. So just keep the helm over, hard to starboard, and just work the throttle. Ahead, loads of it to get her going, and astern. So she prop walks into the turn and round she goes. Almost in her own length for this boat. If it was a shorter keel, she would do it in her own length. Magic, isn't it? Try doing it the other way and you will not have a good time, I promise. Now, not all boats behave quite like this. If you've got a sail drive, that's something that comes out in the middle of the boat, it may well be that it's too far away from the rudder to get that real blast when you put it ahead and get the boat spinning. If that's the case, you just have to do the best you can. Use what you can, experiment with your own boat and see what she'll do. If you've got twin rudders, you've got a real problem, because twin rudders exist because the boat has got a fashionably wide stern and a central rudder is going to be out of the water when the boat's heeled over, so it's not going to work. So that's no good, is it? Kick myself where I should be here, don't want to bash into anybody. And twin rudders, this doesn't work at all. You might get a bit of torque from the prop, but you'll get no water swashing up against the rudder and chucking the stern round. It just doesn't happen. So you have to operate as if you're in a sailing boat, really, and let the rudders turn the boat as a whole and do the best you can once again. That's one of the drawbacks of having two rudders. But if you've got a straight conventional boat like this, it's amazing what you can do.